Double Wear, a mat made for more, just like you.
People's artist of the Russian Federation Denis Matsuev supported Adelia Petrosyan ahead of her free skate at the Milan Olympics. Figure skating is an amazing sport and art. My grandmother always said that it's not just ultra C elements. Music is also important. Like in ballet, you know? If you can skillfully combine music with elements that require hours of work, we see an outstanding performance. I'm confident Adelia will succeed. We'll be keeping our fingers crossed for her, because she is our hope. I understand this better than anyone, and I'm looking forward to seeing our amazing young star perform today, Matsuev said. Russian figure skater Adelia Petrosyan held her final practice session before her free skate at the 2026 Olympics. Petrosyan will take to the ice in the final warm-up at 12:16 a.m. Moscow time on February 20th. In her free skate run-through, Petrosyan landed a quadruple toe loop double toe loop combination, then fell on a solo quadruple toe loop. She also landed a triple salchow, a triple loop, a triple Lutz double axel sequence, a triple flip triple toe loop combination, and a triple flip. Outside of the run-through, Petrosyan fell twice on a quadruple toe loop, but successfully attempted 2 more. She also performed triple jumps and triple jump combinations without falling. The International Skating Union, ISU, confirmed that Russian figure skater Petr Gumenik will not participate in the exhibition performances at the Olympic Games in Milan. Gumenik finished 6th in the men's competition. Among the single skaters who will take to the ice in the exhibition are Mikhail Shadorov, Kazakhstan, Yuma Kagiyama, Shun Sato, both Japan, Adam Xiaohim-Fa, France, Ilya Malinin, USA, Daniel Grassl, Italy, and Cha Jun-won, South Korea. The Olympic figure skating gala will take place on February 21st. Choreographer Bettina Popova assessed Russian figure skater Adelia Petrosyan's chances of winning a medal at the Milan Olympics. Considering the content of her free skate, we can expect a podium finish. But there's no point in predicting her performance or judging. We saw in the men's singles that the leaders sometimes lose their nerve. Let's hope that Adelia, being in the catch-up position, will perform her program with ease. It's important to understand that Adelia's application is incredibly challenging, the most challenging on the international arena at the moment. She herself understands how close she is to an Olympic medal. The main thing is that nothing can deter her. She's performing a quadruple toe loop in training. Even though her statistics aren't 100%, the element is ready and well practiced. We wish Adelia the best of luck and a successful finish at these Olympic Games, Popova said. People's artist of Russia Lev Lishchenko promised to keep an eye on Adelia Petrosyan's performance at the 2026 Olympics. I'm not watching the Olympics yet. Maybe I'll turn it on towards the end and watch the finals. I've turned it on a couple of times, but it's not interesting. Our athletes are few, there's no one to watch. I don't want to waste time on nonsense. Will Petrosyan be performing her free skate today? I'll keep an eye on her, Lishchenko said. He also commented on the ban on Petr Gumenik using music from the film Perfume at the Olympics. Let them use Russian classics. My works are unlikely to be suitable unless they're lyrical. But I wouldn't be against it, of course. We could skate to the Olympic Bear SE, quotes Lishchenko as saying. Russian ballerina Anastasia Volchkova wished Adelia Petrosyan victory at the 2026 Olympics. I'm rooting for Adelia with all my might, my long legs, and my whole heart. I know Adelia will win. She's a unique person. I won't sleep, I'll be rooting for her, Volchkova said. American judge Kevin Rosenstein was not included on the jury for the women's free skate at the Milan Olympics. In the short program, he placed Russian figure skater Adelia Petrosyan in 11th place. She finished 5th in the final standings. The judges were drawn from France, Switzerland, Kazakhstan, Israel, South Korea, Great Britain, Japan, Bulgaria, and Poland. The skaters are currently competing in their free skate at the Olympics. Adelia Petrosyan is 5th after the short program, 6 points behind the leader. A debate has ensued. Should she go for an ultra-high score? 1 quadruple toe loop or 2? Or perhaps none, focusing on reliability? Colleague Polina Krudakina is in favor of risk. It seems she can't win a medal without it. I like that her image as an extremely rational author doesn't prevent her, in unison with fans and even many officials, from losing touch with reality. Petrosyan is fine. To win a medal, you have to take risks in the free skate, screams the headline of Polina's article. And many people think so. There's a subtle irony here. Petrosyan is fine solely because she doesn't follow such advice. All season, we've been told, you have to do your best, use every available Ultra C, or you'll be judged. Such reasoning evokes nothing but smirks. There's no conspiracy against our skaters, no special treatment that would force them to exert excessive effort. Neither the USSR nor the Russian Federation have ever ceased to be one of the most influential federations. Petrosyan, A. Without Ultra C. B. Under a neutral flag. C. In the first warm-up got almost 73 points. She qualified for the final warm-up, close to the lead, and is clearly a medal contender. Her Jackson program was truly vibrant for perhaps the first time this season. Adelia was smiling, jumping confidently, playing off the accents beautifully, and feeling much more relaxed than she had in the fall. This was reflected in her bonuses. They are third among all participants. For comparison, all of Alyssa Liu's scores for short programs in the Grand Prix series this season, including her winning final, are below 76. Yes, Olympics traditionally award higher scores, and Liu currently has a slight lead over Petrosyan. However, Liu's effortless skating, reminiscent of a young Patrick Chan, and her magnificent Lutz loop combination make it difficult to compare with Adelia. And yet, after her short program, Petrosyan doesn't look like a victim of judges' discrimination. She was able to shine largely because her program wasn't complicated by the risk of tripping or turning a triple axel into a butterfly, the result of Adelia's practice a day and a half before the free skate. Only 5 successful quad attempts out of 17. Thinking about how cool it would be to see Adelia with 1 or 2 toe loops brings to mind nostalgia for the $30 bill air direct flights to Europe. Yes, at the Russian Championships in Omsk in December 2024, the tango was mind-blowing, and Petrosyan was the best skater in the world. 2 quad toe loops, 1 in a combination, and a triple axel earned her over 100 points just for technique. But, more importantly, that program didn't look like a performance at a jumping competition. Adelia delivered incredible emotion and interpreted Astor Piazzolla's music at a top level. I don't know why some people get stuck in the past, but something has happened since then. In the series The Tutbirds Method, Adelia talked about how difficult her off-season was. 3 weeks before the September trials in Beijing, she found it difficult to even put on skates. I was completely out of shape, practically without a leg. Everything hurt so much, and I couldn't feel my jumps because of the pain. I couldn't imagine how I could even skate through the program properly, let alone jump. After the injury, we only saw 1 decent attempt at a free skate with a quad, and that was at a non-competitive skate in Omsk. True, Daniel Glikengos admitted, after the toe loop at the very beginning, Adelia died. But at the Russian Championships, a month and a half before the Games, we saw a typical free skate from Petrosyan, who had suffered an Ultra-C injury. A step out on a triple axel, a fall on a quadruple toe loop, then a double toe loop with negatives instead of another quad, which, judging by the entry, was planned as a combination. This is Petrosyan's last free skate in competition. I would understand the desperate reliance on rotations if Petrosyan were a bouncing girl with nothing else to look at. With poor choreography, with music that exists only to distract from the jumps, with wooden spins, and with sequences where the main thing is to land. Only Adelia has never been like that, and her tango is the complete opposite of the idea of figure skating as a backdrop to jumps. A passionate, emotionally powerful, choreographically precise composition with a strong vocal performance, this program is designed to make the audience stand up, not because of a calculator score or an extra turn on a toe loop. This program demands a strong performance and engagement on an acting level, as well as a certain energy. Any mistake on the quad, and especially on 2, will ruin this program. Adelia, like all emotional skaters, simply doesn't know how to shine with mistakes. A potential butterfly, step out, hand contact, or fall will impact not just one jump, but all the remaining ones and, of course, the presentation. One of the most brilliant skaters, Iteri Tutbirds, will suffer on the ice in one of the best free programs of this cycle. This season, we've seen that even one quad, which draws so much of Petrosyan's attention, is too draining, both psychologically and physically. Another example. The entire figure skating world was shocked a few days ago by Ilya Malinin's collapse in his free skate, which was scheduled to include 7 quads. Hardly anyone doubts that Ilya would have won with 3. Everything was going well, but the disaster began with a butterfly instead of a quad axel. If Malinin's team had calmly played for the result instead of trying to make history, Ilya wouldn't have fallen to 8th place. I often hear this argument for taking risks. What difference does it make whether I finish 5th or 15th? Petrosyan clearly wasn't going to Milan for a stroll, but for a medal. This is a classic cognitive distortion, a consequence of all-or-nothing thinking. David Burns, a professor in the Department of Psychiatry and Behavioral Sciences at Stanford University School of Medicine and one of the most renowned authors of books on cognitive therapy, describes this black and white thinking as follows. This is a distortion in which a person perceives events in black and white terms, with no in-between options. For example, a businessman has missed out on an important contract. With this all-or-nothing bias, they perceive the situation as a failure for the business, despite other successful deals. This type of thinking leads to inflated expectations and heightened anxiety. They believe they must be flawless, and any mistake is perceived as a disaster. As a result, they become disappointed in themselves, since reality rarely matches their idealized standards. A strong sense that any place other than first, or at least the top three, will be a disaster has nothing to do with sanity. This bias in thinking is what provokes the madness with the "if the barn burns down, let the house burn too" motivation. It seems much more complimentary for self-esteem if Petrosyan takes matters into her own hands, fails on 2 quads, and falls outside the top 10, but has the excuse "I fought for the win," than if she relies on a clean skate with a less than daring set and waits for her competitors to make mistakes. Somewhere here, in the reasoning of those who advocate the most difficult content, Petrosyan has also added another strange bias: magical thinking. In this case, it lies in the fact that Petrosyan hasn't been able to create a good free program with Ultra C all season, but now she'll succeed. Yes, the history of sports is full of such examples. However, building a strategy based on "maybe it'll work" is a strange choice. It strongly resembles the main character of Dostoevsky's The Gambler, who bet on 0 at the roulette wheel, hoping that he would win a large sum at any moment. Somewhere in the realm of magical thinking, there's a clear hint about a lucky 5th place after the short program, which Polina Krudakina gives readers at the end of her optimistic text. If it worked for Miura and Kihara, as well as Shaderov, then it must work for Petrosyan too? And finally, a false sense of the end of the story. The belief that now or never. As if Milan is Petrosyan's only and last chance, with nothing beyond that. Meanwhile, Adelia didn't seem to be planning on retiring. She's only 18 years old, and a provisional 4th place at the Olympics, not 14th, would be a wonderful boost to her self-esteem and for the next cycle. Imagining that the apocalypse will strike after Milan, judging by the news, humanity is trying very hard, but still, is a slightly radical position. In the comments of many speakers, I detect not a love for figure skating or personal concern for Adelia, but rather an excuse to wave the tricolor once again. Mikhail Diaktarev and Pavel Kolobkov, Natalia Bestimayanova and Ilya Averbik, Alexander Zhulin and Alexei Zheleznikov were all expecting gold from Petrosyan. Lydia Ivanova didn't even want to think about 2nd place. Svetlana Zhirova believed that Petrosyan could be thwarted, hinting at a setup similar to Gumennik's music. And Adelina Sotnikova, on Aradako, was upset when Adelia was bumped from her initial 1st place during the short program because Russia isn't winning. Given how the figure skating season is shaping up, one can't shake the feeling that someone is simply looking for an excuse for the winners to look down on everyone left behind. I don't think sports in general is the best industry to approach with this problem. Adelia Petrosyan is a figure skater, not a therapist. If you're hurt by her not making the podium, that's your problem.